President Trump stole the show,
Yep.
as he can do. He gave a hour and 8-minute long presentation, and I would say 22 minutes of Q&A at the end. Just a whirlwind of so many different policy issues, so many things happening on the foreign policy front and also on domestic policy. We'll take you through those real quick so that we can give you this 30,000-foot view of what's going on. I guess the most important information on the foreign policy front today also affects people here in their pocketbooks, and that is this 90-day sort of standoff or pause with the Chinese on the tariffs, which hopefully will help a lot of America's small and medium-sized businesses hold on and get their footing, since the rug was really taken out from under them as President Trump tried to rebalance his trade deal.
Correct. They need it. Yeah, it has to happen. It's great to see you. I'm very excited for you to sign this copy of I Wish Someone Had Told Me, because I have it right here, and you promised me you would. No, that had to happen. Businesses were not ready for this, and they just can't turn on American manufacturing if they outsource it. And it's fine if we use a country like India, but we don't have that deal announced yet.
And India's not quite ready yet.
India's not quite ready yet. And
but a lot of potential there, but they need a longer ramp.
And people were talking about why the stores are still stocked. It's because people were pre-ordering, knowing that the tariffs were coming on Liberation Day, so they just pre-ordered. But we have Christmas coming, and we don't want prices to go up, and prices are not really coming down yet, so we need that to happen. I'm glad this is happening. 90 days, what happens in 90 days is the question, of course, right?
Oh my gosh, today, speaking of prices, this is a little bit of an aside, but egg prices have come down a little bit. But during the show, my sister sent me a text from Denver, and there's this big semi-truck in Denver, and there was an accident.
Yeah.
And the contents of the truck spelled out, and it was all eggs.
No.
A whole semi-truck full of eggs. Yeah.
Man.
Not great. What about, so you're in Pennsylvania.
Well, South Jersey, and I had my shows in Philadelphia. I had some friends who were farmers from North Jersey who came down, and they brought me eggs from their chickens.
Oh, nice.
Some more people were getting chickens.
What's the feeling like in Pennsylvania and South Jersey? Jersey is interesting because there's a gubernatorial race right now.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about that as well. But in Pennsylvania, how are people feeling about prices? Because there were two main issues that everyone said was the most important for the election last year: the economy and immigration. And on the economy, it was about prices being too high and inflation. On immigration, I think people feel pretty great about how President Trump has solved the problem.
Oh my God.
And are dealing with it. And he's got a lot of high approval ratings on that front. But when it comes to inflation and high prices, what are you seeing in your area?
So people are willing to give the president time on this. They really are. Because, as our mutual friend Selena Zito has pointed out, when these factories have gone out of business and these workers have seen their jobs go overseas, they're willing to give Trump a chance to realign this global order, to bring American manufacturing back, and to hopefully save these towns in Pennsylvania, particularly in John Fetterman's area. And it's interesting, Dana, how the Democrats are all coming after him now. Hit piece after hit piece going after Senator Fetterman.
Senator John Fetterman, just for people who don't know, a little bit background on him and why they're going after him now.
Yeah, well, he had a stroke and then he ran for Senate. And I remember I was actually on Newsroom the day after the debate between him and Dr. Oz years ago. And Democrats said he was fine. Now there's all these hit pieces saying he's not fine and he needs to go. And that's because he's become much more of a moderate Democrat.
And very supportive of Israel.
Supportive of Israel. And also he's not bashing Trump. And he's also saying that we have to stop illegal immigration. He said we can't have the invasion the size of Pittsburgh coming to America every single day. So it's hit piece after hit piece now in Fetterman. Even today there were some new ones that came out. So
yeah, that has been one of the more ugly political hits I've seen in a long time. He does seem to have a lot of support. Is that kind of negativity affecting him at home?
No, in fact, it's amazing how people are rallying. Like our friend Senator Dave McCormick put out a tweet over the weekend saying enough with the tax on him. You had several Republican senators doing that as well, saying it's despicable.
But what about Democrats in Pennsylvania?
Democrats in Pennsylvania are, I think, in a wait-and-see mode because of they have Democrats who are trying to say they're in the middle. You got Josh Shapiro, obviously the governor. You've got Fetterman. It's a different state now. Trump won Pennsylvania big time. So Pennsylvania may not be a swing state anymore. It may be a red state. And John Fetterman may still win because that red state will still elect Democrats. But they're not. No, they're rallying around him for the most part.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the China issue. So that's a little bit wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see. 90 days.
Then you have the possibility of Putin and Zelensky meeting this week on Thursday. President Trump said, Zelensky, please go meet with him, and going to meet in Turkey. President Trump kind of showed a little leg today. I think that if he believes that there will be an actual peace deal, that Trump will go to Turkey. He's in the region. He could at least go over and be a part of that. Now, to me, going there to be there as a part of a 30-day pause, I don't know if that's enough for presidential attention. Maybe it is. Maybe he thinks that he needs to do that in order to get peace. But how do you see that one?
If he can bring peace, that would be a huge accomplishment for him. I mean, obviously, he was talking today about the India-Pakistan peace that they have, this temporary ceasefire. And he said it could have been nuclear war and millions could have died. He wants to get this done. He ran on this issue of saying that he was going to bring peace and not have any new wars. If he goes and he's able to achieve it, it'll be great. I don't think he's going to go unless he has a guarantee that it will happen. Don't you think? I mean, they're
Yep. I think it probably is likely. I think that he it's so interesting because in an hour and 8 minutes, the president had so much news. And, I came from a pretty disciplined background in terms of what message are you driving today?
Right.
What do I want people to talk about today? President Trump has so many things he wants to do, and he's doing it all at once. I think Mark Halperin described it today as all gas, no brakes. And I think that of all the things he put out today, several of these things could land in his favor. It's just really, it's just difficult for the human mind to get around it and to really focus on one thing.
You remember the days in politics where we'd say it was the message of the week?
Yes, of course.
This was the message of the week.
Well,
right?
Infrastructure
Those days
Week.
are gone.
Remember, there was going to be Infrastructure Week for like 8 years.
Yeah, right.
And then it never was. Then we got Infrastructure Week, and guess what came with that? Inflation.
Right.
There was also President Trump talking about India and Pakistan. I don't want to get into that necessarily. Just here's the bottom line. For any president, the problems of the world land on the Resolute desk at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And President Trump will be no stranger to that. He has a lot of things he wants to get done domestically. And so the point of the press conference today was ahead of his trip to do a domestic executive order on drug prices. And this, he calls it most favored nation. An issue, I'm trying to figure out the way to best describe this and summarize it. This has been let me give you an example. RFK Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services today said, this is so meaningful today, what President Trump is doing. And he said he called his 2 sons, and the sons were crying. And they said, never in my lifetime did I think this would happen. What I think is interesting is that his sons support Bernie Sanders. So I don't understand why the Democrats don't just go, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
And take them up and say, we'll take yes for an answer. Absolutely. This is what we always wanted. If the Democrats fight this, I'm like, what are you fighting for? It should be Republicans who say, wait a second, this is actually not competitive. It's not the marketplace figuring it out. We're just trying to do more government price controls. And we know what ends up happening at the end of that. You get less innovation and you get more higher prices in the long run.
Yeah, it's upside down world, right? I mean, it's a Republican president doing things that you would think Democrats would do. Biden tried this in 2021, I believe, or 2022, and the courts put a hold on it. So we'll see where this goes. But I think for anyone listening, 2 things to keep in mind. Number one, Donald Trump is trying to realign the world order, whether it is with trade, drug prices, or with peace. He wants to realign the world order, all right? And now, then looking at this idea of MAHA, the Make America Healthy Again movement, we're realigning the party. You have moms in the suburbs. I talked to one over the weekend, actually, at a soccer game. She works for a food company. I won't name the name, but they have now their healthy chips. It's their healthy nacho cheese chips that are supposed to appeal to the MAHA mom. So there is this lag now where corporate America is trying to catch up to this. And I think Donald Trump, by bringing Kennedy on board, was able to bring over a lot of people who don't necessarily like Donald Trump, but they like those policies. And for years, they were waiting for the Democrats to do something about it, and they never did.
It's a fair point. Some of the MAHA movement stuff is, it crosses all sorts of lines.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting in terms of people being healthier. The president also talked about, he called his very overweight friend who is on the fat drug. And that's his words, not mine. And he said the guy called and said, hey, why am I paying $88 for this in London when I pay $1,300 back home? There's a lot of reasons for that. But as somebody who lived in Britain for a while, I will tell you also this. Do you know how much you pay in taxes in order to have the National Health Service there, which is the worst healthcare system outside of maybe all the others? I mean, ours is terrible, but it's better than the rest. And I look at this and I think, wow, one thing is pretty interesting. If President Trump, in trying to remake the world order, makes NATO and Europe take more responsibility for their own backyard. Good thing.
Good.
Right?
Yep.
And if on the drug manufacturing front and research and development, Europe gets a kick in the rear, okay, also good. But I would also say there's one other part that's hanging out there, and that is Europe treats our American tech companies terribly. And so there has to be a rebalancing there. He doesn't talk about that as much, but it's coming. And I think that the way that they try to go after the business model, and I think a lot of it has to also do with jealousy. It's not just that they want to protect their kids from social media. That actually is a universal thing. It's that they're jealous because they cannot come up with the innovation that we've been able to do here in America.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so they're whining about that, and then they take advantage of them. On the drug side, let's not forget, I remember I worked for a New Jersey congressman, very conservative guy, Scott Garrett, many years ago.
Yes.
And we toured some of the drug facilities in Bergen County, New Jersey, where they have a lot of pharmaceutical companies, and they would say it takes $1 billion to develop a breakthrough drug. There's a lot of regulation, and there's years, and there's no guarantee of success. People have to keep that in mind when they're talking about drug prices. The innovation to create the next breakthrough drug is that they'll make a lot of money on it, obviously. And the second part of it, in terms of Europe and your point about tech, is great. I don't think people realize that. I don't think people realize that aspect of this. Where America, what we do export still, we export our wonderful new tech, right? Our social media and everything else. When's the last UK that all the kids were talking about today? I don't know. Maybe there's something we don't know about, but it seems it's either the United States or China who comes out with all these apps that everybody's using.
Like, how many Cadbury eggs do you really want to buy?
I mean, this time of year, they're going away, Dana.
I don't like the Cadbury eggs, and I don't know how RFK Jr. feels about them either. I want to talk about the Democrats for a little bit because there's been a little bit of movement, where you saw, first of all, there's all these books starting to come out about Biden. So you had Biden out last week trying to defend himself from some pretty tough attacks. I don't think, for people who watch Fox or listen to this podcast, you might not be surprised about how bad things were behind the scenes at the White House. They're trying to back clean up on that. I don't think it's working. How do you see it?
I see it as the Democrat base. I mean, we know how we all feel about this. It was a cover-up, and they hid Biden's cognitive decline and everything else. Now, put yourself in the shoes of a grassroots Democrat, okay? Your party was complicit in hiding him. Every time he goes on TV, he's not going out there as the elder statesman. He's going out there as a reminder to them of how the party hid him, and you had no say in the process. So you're a grassroots Democrat voter. You had no say in the convention. You had no say in the primary, none whatsoever. You were handed a candidate who was a terrible candidate, and now you watch as that party goes out there and tries to pretend like that never happened, and it's a slap in your face. It really is. I think that in all the years in politics, and you know this better than anybody, when you lose trust with your party, it's very difficult to rebuild, like any other relationship. And I think the Democrat Party has lost trust with their voters. They've lost trust with their people because of how they handled this entire process. We can talk about all the books and we can say, hey, we told you so, and we did. We certainly did. But they watched, and even they defended Biden in many cases. The voters, the grassroots Democrats, they go to a convention that's closed. They have no say in this whatsoever. So what we're all saying, I mean, I remember I was on with Mike Emanuel, and he was filling in for you on your show, and I said before the debate in June, why are we doing a debate in June? This is a setup to get him out of the race. But then Democrats all of a sudden turn around and go, oh my God, what do we do now? And they watched as people like Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer made decisions for them, but they never were able to get their own base.
Like, the Republicans really had to go through like a tough
primary
family reunion, right? Family reunions that were uncomfortable. But now you have a generational divide. And so whoever emerges from this will be younger. You're not going to get another 80. No, I do not think you're going to get another 80-year-old candidate. There might be 15 candidates on stage. We saw that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a firebrand New York City congresswoman, said she's not going to rule out 2028. And I don't think she wants to run for president necessarily. Maybe she does, but I think she keeps that line open so that she can keep raising as much money as she does. Jasmine Crockett is the congresswoman from the Houston area. She said this week that the Democrats just want a safe white boy. And I think she's pointing at Gavin Newsom. But I was also interested in something else. The new senator from Arizona, Ruben Gallego, made a trip to Pennsylvania.
He did.
And so he's very liberal, but kind of tried to run as a moderate. What does that mean? He was going to one of the most swingiest of swing states.
Yeah, and he got a ton of national attention for it. What he said, which I think is true, is stop blaming Trump voters for our loss. That's what he said to Democrats. Stop blaming the voters. And this is what Democrats have been doing for years. Calling Trump's voters deplorables, calling them garbage, all the other things they say about them. And his point about stop doing that matters. It really does matter. But, you know, the problem is, and this is something I think is real with the Democrat base right now, is that every candidate is running to win a primary. They can win the primary, but they can't win the general. Not in this manner. They're all running to win a primary. That's why that Newark mayor who got arrested, Ross Baraka, who's the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was arrested to go in this ICE detention facility. Best thing that ever happened for him, because now he's going to get national news. Nobody knew his name 5 minutes ago.
He's running for governor, so he needs
running
more
for
attention.
governor. The primary is next month. It's early June, so he's got a chance now of becoming the Democrat nominee. Democrats still want to run on this anti-Trump platform, and that may get him to win the primary. But the minute the Democrat comes out there and says, stop blaming the Trump voters, now you're saying something very unique. It's not their fault that the Democrat Party lost them and left them behind. So why are you blaming don't blame the victim, right? I mean, the voters are the victims of your party that decided to abandon them for the elites and the faculty lounge.
Yeah. So we wait and see. I mean, as we keep saying, we're trying to find silver linings for the Democrats. I'm looking for green shoots. I don't see a lot of them.